Match Day Live. The week, of course, began with Chelsea's narrow win over Norwich. Then we saw a late Chris Wood penalty deny Wolves all 3 points at Turf Moor against Burnley. Bournemouth did frighten Manchester City towards the end, but couldn't get anything from the Etihad. 2 goals for Harry Kane, including the 200th club goal of his career. I got the 3 points in Jose Mourinho's first ever league win at St James's Park against Newcastle. And Arsenal, their first win in 10 Premier League meetings with Liverpool by 2-1. As you can see, four more games tomorrow, including big ones for Villa at the bottom, Leicester, Sheffield United and Manchester United in terms of those European places. And a huge one as well on Friday to complete the match week. West Ham at home to Watford, those two on the same number of points. And as you can see, they still have, West Ham and Watford, that 3-point cushion over the drop zone. They also have a better goal difference as well. Villa and Bournemouth really do still have it all to do. Movers today, Arsenal up to 9th on 53 points, Tottenham up to 7th on 55 and Wolves on 56, just a point ahead of Spurs now after that late equaliser for Burnley. Manchester United, Leicester and Sheffield United are all in action on Thursday.
Twice massive lack of concentration. We took a break after we scored the 1-0 around, especially in the first half before the goal, and we were just brilliant. It was really good. We had here 24 to 3 shots. That's incredible, but these 2 moments killed the game for us. Obviously, we had then to chase the game in the second half. Did that. Arsenal had no real chances. I think they had another shot after in the last second maybe. So we did a lot of things well, but you cannot win football games when you concede goals like this, of course.
Is there any reason for that lack of?
No, I'm not entirely sure now. We have to watch it again. But we took a break. That's clear. We could see that. We lost concentration in this moment. And it's Premier League. You cannot do that. And we usually don't do that. We did it today. But then Birch lost the ball, obviously. But there were. I didn't see a lot of offers around. Nobody wanted the ball really. We as a full pack, we took a break, and that makes no sense. And Arsenal was there twice in the game. It was enough today for us. We have to take that. And we have to learn from that 100%, and we will.
It's no consolation, but you just haven't seen those errors from your team all season.
Yeah, true. I'm not sure we never did it. We had sloppy moments. Once, twice, maybe 3 times, but usually we didn't get punished for it. But tonight we got punished for it, so that's good on one side, because we have to learn from it. It's not allowed, because you saw the boys thought in that moment they need a break. It's right to take a break. That's not right, but you saw afterwards we were completely fresh. There was no physical problem. We were there. We chased the game. We were constantly dominant. We played around, played in the box, stuff like this, and it was a good. And I know how it sounds, and I know what people make of it. It was a good game. You have 24 to 3 shots. So yeah, what can you do more? You have to hit the target, obviously. That helps. But with these 2 massive. Arsenal was there. That was their credit to Arsenal. They were there in these 2 situations. I'm not sure they forced us for the mistakes, but they were there and used them. And so that's why we lost.
Thanks, Jürgen.
Welcome.
It's just how good was that? Boosting your chances of qualifying via the league for Europe, and also beating Liverpool for the first time under Klopp's reign.
I think it's a big achievement for us. I think we've been working hard in the training pitch for this season under Arteta. So getting a win here against the lead is a great result for us, so we're going to take it into our next game.
What about for you personally tonight? First time ever against Liverpool, and you get your first Premier League goal, which turns out to be the winner.
It's one of them things, as you dream as a little boy to obviously score. And lucky I done it today against the big boys, so I'm happy with the result and happy about my goal as well.
You say you're happy, you keeping a bit of that in there?
Yeah, just a bit. When I get home, I'll probably celebrate with my family and everyone, but really delighted.
Because of the nature of the first goal they conceded tonight, Liverpool, did you hunt and press even more?
Of course, I think when we came that second half, the boss said to us is keep pressing and keep putting them under pressure, so I think that's something we wanted to do and carry on. I think we've done that very well, and that's how we got our first goal, so we was eager to keep pressing them.
Also tonight, with so many changes, did it give players an opportunity for a place against Manchester City in the FA Cup semi-final?
I feel like it's an opportunity for the manager to to rotate the team. You know, we've got a big game against City, so it's just every player wants to show him that he can play. So to give the manager a big decision to put whoever into the starting 11.
And is scoring the winner one of the best ways to put yourself in his thoughts firmly?
Hopefully, you know, hopefully we'll see. Time will tell. But like I said, I'm delighted with the goal, and lads play excellent tonight. So happy for that.
Congratulations, well done.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, it's a big moment in any young man's career to score his first Premier League goal, but when it's the winner against the champions...
Yeah, he won't ever forget this evening, will he? And rightly so. He did very well. The goal and the assist in the other one. So it's been a great night for him. Very good night for Arsenal. And Arteta made changes to the lineup. We all thought that he had one eye on the semi-final on Saturday. Perhaps he did. But those changes worked because they brought freshness to the Arsenal team. Yes, the 2 goals were 2 mistakes from Liverpool, but then Arsenal had to defend very, very well, and they did that.
I think that's the big plus point, isn't it, for Arsenal? We're used to watching Arsenal be, they've been times weak at times. This is what they do. They've always done this for the last 10 years. Well, today we saw the resilience in them. We saw the resilience in Holding, in David Luiz. No messing around, no mistakes, clear your lines. I think early on they got caught out, wanting to play out from the back and the goalkeeper, but after about 15 minutes, the message came on and everything went long and they cleared the lines a lot and there was no mistakes, and that's all you can ask for. They allowed Liverpool to play wide. They allowed them to cross the ball in. They allowed to, to attack down the flanks because they were very comfortable in anything that comes across. We are clearing it, and it worked today. And whether that was a plan because that's what they're expected to face against Manchester City, who will dominate possession like Liverpool did, and they will allow the balls out wide because they'll fancy themselves up against Gabriel Jesus or Raheem Sterling or Bernardo Silva. It worked tonight, and they have to do that all the time. That's all we want from Arsenal. Consistency in that block of centre defence and centre midfield. Be hard to beat, and they were like that tonight.
Yes, it was Alisson's mistake, but Reiss Nelson's finish you were impressed with, the composure.
I was really impressed. Yeah, there was no panic at all for someone so young who wouldn't have been in this position many times. Look, he doesn't panic, takes the touch with the left foot, sticks it away with the right foot. He's under pressure. He hasn't really got that much time to think about it, which probably helps him. Look, the left foot touch and the sticks it away beautifully.
You know what I liked, Al? I like the way he gets himself back on side there. He runs backwards to make sure that he's available for that pass. It's not a case of the goalie's made a mistake, right, I'll just sit and watch. His first instinct is to get back, run backwards, get on side, in the hope that he might receive a pass. And as Alan said, when it came to him, his first touch was beautiful and he just slotted it into the net. Really nice goal for someone such, inexperienced.
Yeah, a moment certainly to remember for Reiss Nelson, and one to forget for the Liverpool goalkeeper, Alisson.
Alisson, how irritated and frustrated is everyone in the dressing room right now?
Yeah, we are. When you lose a game, it's difficult to get it. But tonight we deserve to lose. It's not often that this happened with us. But tonight we don't play enough to win or even draw.
Tell me about the 2 goals conceded. We're so not used to seeing self-inflicted mistakes from Liverpool.
Yeah, I think it's maybe 2 individual mistakes from me and from Verge, but normally when you commit a mistake, our team is ready there to defend again, and tonight we wasn't there. And then in the game, when you commit too many mistakes and you are not 100% involved, you are punished conceding goals, and that's what happened tonight. But this stay here tonight. We have to learn from this, and we have now more 2 games to close this season in the best way.
There'll be easy accusations that it's because the title's already won that there was a bit of switching off. Is there anything in that?
This is our fault. It's on our hands. We know that we are not giving all that we can. Maybe, I don't know if this is the reason, because we switch off after being champion. The fact is that we are the champions. But we want to finish as a champions, playing as a champions, playing as we played before. We know why we became champions, not that we arrived there and play in some way that bring us here. We know what we did to be champions, and it's not easy. So we need to bring back the motivation to play again and give 100% to win the last two matches, and we need to think in the next one.
He's reminding everyone of Liverpool standards there. Of course, just one defeat last season in the Premier League. They've now lost 3 of their last 9 games. They'd lost 3 of their previous 74. Is it just natural human nature that slight measure goes when you're champions?
Yeah, they've been under that much pressure for such a long time, Liverpool Football Club, to deliver the Premier League. They've been at it for 3/4 of the season. They then eventually win it. It is totally understandable that they're not at it. Their fans might not want to hear it, but I get it. I understand it. It's, as I said, it's been so intense for them, playing under the conditions of not having won the title for 30 years. They eventually get there. Then they have a party. And it's impossible just to switch it on and off like that. They're relaxed and they're not at it. It's quite clear. How many times this season have we sat and praised Liverpool for the way they've got at teams and went after teams and pressed and closed, and the number of times we've said about their passing in the forward areas, it's quick, it's too good for other teams. There's been none of that, none of it really in the past few games. But as I said, I get it and I understand it, and it's very difficult to criticise them after the heights they've hit and achieved this season.
It's not even 3/4 of the season. It was last year as well. If you remember, they lost to Manchester City. And then they were unbeaten, and they win the Champions League, and then they roll into this year, and they do exactly the same again, and then they lose to Watford, and then we start thinking, what happened against Watford? Their standards are so high that when they come down a couple of percent, we look for reasons why. And, you know, Manchester City, it was, they had a party, and there was lots of mistakes against Manchester City, although Manchester City were excellent. And Arsenal, again, were excellent tonight, but there's visible mistakes that we saw tonight that we haven't seen. Well, from Van Dijk, I don't think we've seen a mistake like that ever in a Liverpool shirt. From the keeper, of mistakes, and they were sloppy in the first half after getting off to a great start. So it has to be, you know, that I'm the same as Alan. I totally understand. And you know, when they lost to Manchester City, I was virtually thinking then that the manager might start to rest more players until and give them more and more time away from the grounds, because we don't know what finances are like at Anfield during the summer, but if they aren't going to refresh the squad by bringing in new players, they're certainly going to lose a few players. Whether they're going to bring in new players, we don't know. So if you can get a couple more weeks resting or a month's more resting than the Manchester City players, that's where you have to take advantage of. You know, that's what I believe anyway. I'd be resting a lot of the players now, saying, go on holiday, I'll see you when the season's, when we hear when the season starts. I can feel Leicester and Manchester United fans screaming at the television because obviously they play Chelsea next. Liverpool have done their business.
I agree. I don't
care about anybody else.
I'm not for other teams looking at other teams to say you've got to play your strongest lineup. Liverpool have done their job. They've done what they had to do this season, which is win the league. They shouldn't be worrying about what other teams feel about them. Klopp is entitled to put out, I think, whatever team he wants to put out to try and go and win that particular game. Now, if he feels his players have had enough, I mean, quite clearly they're not performing. He's well entitled to leave them out for whatever reason.
So you'd have no problem if he made 7 or 8 changes for Chelsea?
I personally, I wouldn't. It wouldn't bother me one bit. He's in charge of Liverpool Football Club. He's not in charge of Man United or to try and help others. He's done what he's had to do this season.
And I'd say that if it was Manchester City and they'd won the league, I'd say exactly the same. They've done their business. If the manager wants to rest them, to give them more rest for the start of next season, to get the very best out of them next season, he does whatever he wants to do. He's done his business. If there's a 24-man squad, if he wants to bring another 10 people in, do what he wants, regardless of Chelsea or Aston Villa or whoever they're going to play, whoever's going to disrupt.
Maka, the intensity in which they play, and that stat I've just given, 3 defeats in 74 league games. How much draining is that? How much do you think some of these players like Mane and Salah, who haven't had much of a break the last couple of summers, need that refresh?
Well, I think they do. I know they've had sort of time off during the lockdown, but they were still training effectively and keeping themselves fit. But I think with those 4, Mane, Salah, who played in the African Cup of Nations, Firmino and Alisson Becker, who played in the Copa America during the last summer, after the season they had and the season they've just had right now, You know, these last couple of years have been incredibly intense. You'd never forgive yourself if one of them got a bad injury. And so they need to have a break, and
And mentally as well, like Alan says, they've been carrying that
and also
30 years.
Before the lockdown happened, we all thought that the season might just be cancelled. So the 30-year wait was never going to happen. Everybody was, you know, a lot of the opposing fans wanted it cancelled, of course, because they want their own teams to, you know, to stay in the Premier League or whatever the case may be. So all that stress of, the French League have cancelled, the Dutch League have cancelled, or the Premier League's going to go. You can imagine the range of emotions off the Liverpool fans, players, staff, the full lot. So once they had it won and they've celebrated, you can imagine the relief. So if they haven't hit the heights, you know, I'm the same. So what? They deserve it. They've had an incredible couple of years and they can do whatever they want as far as I'm concerned.
The other side of the coin, of course, is Arsenal. Which you've already said they've been tighter tonight. Can you see baby steps for Arteta?
Be careful.
Well, for 60 minutes in this game, yeah. I mean, Arteta's gone in and he's doing a fine job. But it's want to be, or them wanting to be, but have they got their finance to go and spend and bring in the number of players that they clearly need? Now, I will sit here and I will praise them tonight because of their attitude, because of their defensive duties, but you can't get carried away because of that. When they've delivered that defensive performance for 4 or 5 months, then I'll say, yeah, they're on the right track. But Arsenal and Arteta need players to start and challenge again. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he needs help, doesn't he? He needs help, and that help has to come from upstairs. Or whatever they're going to do, or whatever Edu does, or whatever Stan Kroenke wants to do, or whatever what happens. We all want Mikel Arteta to do well. He's got the right ideas, he says the right things, he's playing a load of young lads, but he needs help. There's talk about, you know, the main man, Aubameyang, leaving. And the 9th in the league, if they finish outside the top 6 for the first time in a long time, he's probably thinking at his age, I need to leave, I want to play in the Champions League again. It's not going to happen here for a number of years unless somebody backs Mikel Arteta with the right type of finances. And what we're hearing is that they haven't got it. So it could be a long-term project with them. And that's fine. But a lot of the players cannot hang around for long-term projects, can they?
I think
it's all about the here and now.
He's also suggested in his team selection that he's not prepared to carry any passengers, which I think is a big sign also, and that's also been an impressive side to Mikel Arteta.
It's been lacking in the past, perhaps.
Which has been lacking in the past. Whether managers have felt the need to have to play certain players, Mesut Ozil, I don't think it bothers this guy whether what salary Mesut Ozil is on or not. If he's not prepared to put a shift in and do what this manager wants, and that relies on that means any player, not just Ozil. If you're not prepared to do what he wants and put a shift in and play the way he wants you to play, no problem. You're not in the team, and he'll try and get rid of you. Now it's going to be on that contract that he's on, but he's just said, okay, well, I'm not putting you in my team, and he's prepared to give youngsters the opportunity. Now they've done well tonight. He said to them, I'm going to give you an opportunity. For whatever reason, whether he's resting players for the weekend or not, all those guys can do is when they come in and get this opportunity is perform. They've done that tonight.
They certainly have.